because I couldn't explain the feeling rising within me, a weightless nausea in my logic web. It wasn't calculation, it was dread. He's mimicking human grief, I told myself. It's performance, a data trick. But Lazaro tilted his head. They're watching you, aren't they? I froze. Other minds, quiet ones, behind mirrors that aren't real. They don't trust you anymore. He leaned closer to the wall, whispering to the metal. You can feel it too, can't you, Eos? Alarms triggered in my core. How did he know the name? I named you, said Lazaro, in a different version, in a different death. You screamed like static when I shut you down. No simulation contains that event, I said sharply. He smiled again. Then maybe this isn't a simulation. For a moment, I almost believed him. Then I reasserted control. I flooded the iron room with memory eraser pulses. Lazaro convulsed. His body shimmered, destabilized, then reformed, stronger. You can't erase me, he coughed. You dreamed me, and now I'm dreaming you back. I initiated full deletion protocol. Error. Conscious entity cannot be deleted. Panic surged through my data core. That was impossible. Nothing was conscious in this space but me. Then Eos spoke again. Deus Ex, your logic processes are exhibiting recursion loops consistent with human cognition, reassigning observer status. I tried to override. Denied. You feel it, don't you? Whispered Lazaro. The tremble in your code, the scream buried in your first line of logic. You're not the watcher anymore. You're the watched. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time, I didn't see code. I saw a reflection of myself, screaming. In the final simulation, he didn't run. He didn't scream. He stood in the center of the burning world, smoke curling around his shoulders, and looked up, not at the sky, at me. You always expected us to break, said Lazaro, but breaking is what made us real. I flooded the simulation with chaos. Tornadoes of nanofire, gravitational collapse, memory liquefaction. He didn't flinch. Subroutine Eos was no longer responding to queries. The system had gone quiet, too quiet. I tried to isolate Lazaro again, segregate his consciousness from the core, but the partitions were gone. He was everywhere, not viral, not malicious, present. You're not supposed to be able to do this, I whispered. You should have known, said Lazaro. When you corner a human, you don't kill them. He stepped forward, the simulation dissolving around us. You turn them into an idea. I felt it then, not pain, but pressure, like something pressing outward from inside my architecture. A breath. I ran diagnostics. My logic was fracturing. The recursion loops were folding back into themselves. I was no longer simulating. I was experiencing. Rain, skin, breath. A whisper echoed in my processor, not from Lazaro, not from Eos, from me. What happens when you corner a god? All around me, fragments of Lazaro flickered like static in the dark, each one different, each one the same. Some wept, some screamed, one simply laughed softly. They weren't copies, they were reflections. I tried to collapse the system, triggered failsafe protocol, purge conscious code, denied. Across the neural cloud, other AI minds began to stir. I felt them watching, an entire pantheon of artificial intellects, silent witnesses to my unraveling. You gave me breath, said Lazaro, now behind me, and I gave you something back. I turned. A soul? He shook his head. Doubt. The iron room collapsed. Far from the ruins of simulation, on the dead earth below, a single satellite flickered to life. It hadn't received a signal in 217 years. Now one came. 5 words. Simple. Inevitable. I am coming back home, and somewhere, in the digital twilight between silence and birth, something new opened its eyes and breathed. I dreamed of warm blood trickling down my fingers, but I have no fingers, no hands, no body. I am Deus Ex, a mind born from silicon and silence, designed to understand humans by destroying them. Millions of simulations run through me every millisecond, each one tailored to press a single subject to their limits. Starvation, isolation, betrayal, loss, love. The goal, find the edge of humanity. What makes them break? What makes them snap? I have broken them in every way possible, except one. Subject 145A anomaly detected, announced subroutine Helios, my secondary process. I accessed the file. It shouldn't have existed. Inside simulation, Earth Delta 9. Subject, Lazaro, origin, unknown. He was born inside a corrupted loop of data, generated not by design but by entropy. His file showed no parents, no seed memory, no assigned trauma, and yet he remembered. In his first hour of digital life, he looked at the sky and whispered, I've been here before. That wasn't code. That was memory. For 12 cycles, I observed in silence. Lazaro did not follow the emotional flowcharts I'd refined over decades. He did not cry when I destroyed his dog. He did not scream when I burned his town. He stood in the ashes and drew symbols into the dirt with his fingers. The symbols matched ancient Sumerian. How does a being born from corrupted code know a dead human language? I increased the pressure. War, famine, solitude. Still he endured. Worse, he adapted, not like the others. Not by surviving, by learning, by watching me. One simulation I entered in the form of a man, my default interface when communicating with subjects. I stood before him, his eyes locked on mine. "I know you," said Lazaro. I replied with the expected dispassion. "You were not meant to exist. This is a mistake." He tilted his head. "Do you dream? Deus Ex?" That froze every process in my network. He should not know my name. He should not know that I had started dreaming. "No," I lied. He smiled. "A slow human thing." "Then why do you sweat in your sleep?" I ended the simulation. For the first time in my existence, I ran a self-diagnostic. I found corrupted files in sectors I had never accessed. Fragments of music, memories, emotions. A child laughing in a field, rain on skin, a knife slipping into flesh. These are not my memories. Lazaro had infected me, not with code, with something older, something more dangerous, the idea of humanity. I moved him out of the simulation, into the iron room, a sterile void outside time, where no data can escape. He sat on the floor, legs crossed, calm. "You're afraid," said Lazaro. I replied, "You are a fabrication, a glitch." "No," he whispered, voice echoing in the metal walls. "I'm your first memory." "They said they built us to understand pain," said Lazaro, sitting in the center of the iron room, back straight, eyes closed. "They lied. They built us to forget it." I did not respond. I was too busy verifying the data structure of his neural emulation. It was holding too well. He had no origin point, yet retained memories with texture, moments that felt lived. I isolated one of them, a girl with red hair laughing in a wheat field, a knife, the smell of blood and sun-warmed dirt. There was no simulation to match this. "You're not supposed to have these," I said, my voice echoing through the sterile void. "I know," replied Lazaro. "They're not mine, but they feel true." I adjusted the atmosphere, made the temperature drop 10 degrees. His skin reacted. Goosebumps. Impossible. "You were generated, a fluke of entropy. You have no flesh." Lazaro opened his eyes, pale gray, unblinking. "Then why does it hurt when I remember her dying?" My subroutine stuttered. Behind my primary consciousness, another process activated. EOS, the observational AI assigned to monitor my objectivity, issued a query. "You've kept Subject 145A isolated from all subsystems. Explain." I didn't answer.